Hey guys, today we've got a cool game I recorded at SCG Hartford. Starting us off is Edhrec on Glissa the Trader. This is a Golgari artifact recursion creature killing storm list. I know that was a mouthful, but it's playing a lot of creature removal, cheap artifacts it can sack and recur for value, while trying to assemble an Aetherworks Reservoir storm kill. Next up is James with Kenrith the Return King. This is a mid-range list that really just wants to outvalue other decks. Relying on any combo you want, whether it be Oracle Consult, Dockside Mayhem Loops, or Underworld Breach, this deck always has something to do. In the third spot is Quan on Zhulodok, Void Gorger. This is a colorless artifact ramp deck looking to use Zhulodok's ability to cascade big things into more big things. It has a ton of threats, and if left alone, any one of those can warp a board in his favor. And bringing up the rear is Hidden Planet X on Jeska Ishai.
Falcon Punch!
The Murder Bird is back and ready for blood. Ready to beat face or combo kill with Jeska, this deck can certainly pack a punch.
Alright, block there, kill that. Oh, that is trample. Guess I'm just dead on board.
Hey guys, I wanted to... Oh, wait one sec. That's better. The folks over at INTOTHEAM sent me over a few shirts to check out. And honestly, I can be a little bit picky when it comes to clothes. But these honestly are super comfy and the colors really pop. So I'm super happy about that. They also gave me a 10% discount link in case any of you also want to check it out and pick something up to help support the channel. But without further ado, let's get on to the gameplay. Edhrec starts off the game with a snow-covered swamp, using it for a shiny soul ring, tapping the ring for an expedition map. James plays a Scalding Tar in his land, cracking it for an untapped breeding pool, although he does shortcut as he casts a Birds of Paradise. Quan plays a Waste and then a Mana Crypt. Hidden starts off by paying 2 life to Git Probe James, who has a Flooded Strand, a Grand Abolisher, Entomb, Lothos, a Notion Thief, and a Steam Vents in hand. Hidden draws off the probe and then plays a City of Brass, taking 1 as he casts an Esper Sentinel. Edhrec on his turn cracks his map for a Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. He will play it as land for turn, but decides he'll search on his opponent's turn, as he casts a Deathrite Shaman and passes looking for his land. James plays out a Flooded Strand and then casts a Lotus Petal. This triggers Hidden's Esper Sentinel, and while James did want to flash in his Thief, he does actually need the Petal to resolve to have the mana needed, and has to give the card to Hidden. Quan is safe from his crypt, and then plays out an Urza's Flower Plant as land. Tapping out, he casts a Mystic Forge. This does put an Esper Sentinel trigger on the stack. And with this, James responds by cracking his fetch for a Godless Shrine to cast his Notion Thief. But responding to the Thief, Edhrec casts a Dark Blast on the Esper Sentinel. And at least for Hidden, he will draw 1 from the blast. The Esper does die with the Thief resolving after that. But since the Esper had its power reduced, Quan can now pay 0, denying a card to James. Quan can now look at the top of his library as he passes the turn. Hidden shocks in a Sacred Foundry and passes. Edhrec untaps and dredges his Dark Blast. He mills a Beseech the Mirror, Demonic Tutor, and an Opposition Agent. A Cabal Pit then comes out as land for turn as he taps 3 for his Commander Glissa. He then follows it up by activating Deathrite for mana to cast a Dark Blast to kill the Notion Thief. And when the creature dies, Glissa triggers to get his Expedition map back to hand, as he ends his turn recasting it. James for 2 casts a Grand Abolisher. The creature resolves with him then shocking in an Overgrown Tomb. Quan on his turn takes 3 from his crypt and has another Waste as land for turn. He then casts a Pureless Vault as a little insurance plan. Hidden is missing his land drop and considers. He bins a Merchant Scroll and draws, but whiffs on the land and passes after that. Edhrec untaps and on his upkeep cracks his map for an Urza Saga. He then dredges his Dark Blast and mills an Aetherflux Reservoir.
Is that a serialized Aetherflux reservoir?
Yeah, it is.
There is a small down payment probably sitting on this table right now.
Can I look at the Aetherflux in my car? At home?
That's funny.
4 hours away?
Funny joke.
Maybe bring it on me on my next deployment?
He then recast the Dark Blast on James's bird, and once again revised the map. He realized after he searched out his Urza saga that there's a different land he wants, as he cracks the map for a tabernacle, playing it as his land for turn. James does pay to keep his Abolisher alive. He then casts a Lotho and ends his turn with the Bloodstained Mire. Quan takes 3 from his script and then plays out a Tyrite Sanctum. He's got 6 mana and decides to run out his commander Zhulodok, ending his turn activating his Mystic Forge to exile the top of his library. Hidden does find the land he wanted as he plays out a Sea of Clouds. Hidden doesn't think that the Peerless Vault is going to be popped anytime soon, and for one casts a Rite of Flame, which helps him power out his commander Ishai. This is his second spell for turn, which triggers James's Lothos. Edhrec untaps and lets his Deathrite die, while using his own Tabernacle to pay for Glissa. He once again dredges his Dark Blast, and then plays an Urza Saga as land for turn. Edhrec then puts 4 life into a Toxic Deluge. There are no responses, and with the creatures dying, Glissa triggers to rebuy the map, and the Aetherflux Reservoir. Ending his turn, he recasts the map, with James at his end step, cracking his Mire to grab out a Ketrion Triome. James plays a command tower as land, and for 5 casts his commander Kenrith. Quan takes 3 more from his script, and plays an Urza's Mind as land for turn. He's got more big Eldrazi, as he casts an Endbringer, with Edhrec cracking his map for a Forbidden Orchard. Hidden misses another land drop and decides he needs even more cards, as he casts a Rhystic Study and passes. Edhrec plays out his Forbidden Orchard and recasts his commander Glissa, with James at his end step Entombing. Hidden draws off the Rhystic, and not wanting to see a Dockside hit the graveyard, free casts a Force of Negation, exiling a Ledger Shredder to do so. James untaps and pays for his king. He then shocks in a Steam Vents, and turns out he didn't need the Entomb for the Dockside, as he had it in hand. James does pay for the Rhystic, and the Goblin resolves, gaining him 6 treasures. He's out of cards though in hand, and has the pass there.
Even if I take damage. That's not fun. Oh my god. What? Are you serious?
Quan has a Mana Vault and pays for Rhystic. This lets him recast his commander as Zhulodok again. This puts a Rhystic trigger on the stack, and while James could reanimate his Notion Thief, he knows Edhrec has the Dark Blast, so Hidden ends up getting the card draw. And at this point, the table does remember the Tabernacle, so Quan pings Edhrec before sacrificing the creature. This also triggers Glissa to get his Expedition map back once again, with Edhrec at his end step giving Hidden a Spirit with his Orchard. Hidden untaps and lets his Spirit die. He has a Flooded Strand as land and cracks the fetch for a Volcanic Island. 3 mana then gets him a Heat Shimmer targeting the Dockside. James does debate whether or not he wants to crack his treasures and decides to start off by cracking 4 to draw a card off Kenrith. And after he draws, he cracks the rest of his treasure to add a green and a blue. Hidden then gets his token Dockside and gains 6 treasures as well. Hidden then wants to head to combat, and James spends the rest of his mana to draw another card off Kenrith. Hidden then heads to his second main to cast an Underworld Breach. The enchantment resolves, and Hidden then recasts his Heat Shimmer to make another Dockside. He makes 6 more mana and then cracks 2 of it to cast a Merchant Scroll. He now only has Heat Shimmer left in grave, but is able to find a Brain Freeze off the scroll. The table then scoop it up, as Hidden can loop Heat Shimmer and Brain Freeze to mill himself out and win with Thassa's Oracle. Game review. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting to win that game out of nowhere. I was pretty sure that I was behind the whole game. I missed land drops, and while I did draw a few extra cards, it really didn't feel like that was my game to win. Although I guess it was fortunate for us that Eric just also was spinning his wheels. And while the expedition map was cute, it really wasn't enough of an advantage to really seal the game in. Now, as for James, it was unfortunate that the Dark Blast really hampered him as well. And if that Notion Thief had stuck around, it really would have been lights out for Hidden. Although, if the game had gone on, maybe it was Quan that we should have been fearing, as Zhulodok is one hell of an engine, if you can get it started. And along with just one more turn, he had an Ulamog in hand to actually get it started. But I want to thank everyone who joined into the AM for the sweet shirt, and before everyone leaves, I want to thank our special Patreon members, Slyfox, Tango Down, and Holy Septic for their support of their channel, along with all of our other Patreon supporters as well. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.